வணக்கம் எல்லாருக்கும் மீண்டும் ஒரு புதிய எபிசோட்ல உங்களை எல்லாரையும் சந்திக்கிறோம். ஸோ வெல்கம் பேக் டு another எபிசோட் ஆஃப் குஜாலா இருப்போம்
சில்லா கதைப்போம்.
ஸோ இன்றைக்கி நல்ல ஒரு கூலான சில்லான ஒரு ஆளை தான் நாங்கள் கூட்டிகிட்டு வந்திருக்கிறோம். ஸோ அவர் வேறு யாரும் இல்லை, உங்கள் எல்லாருக்குமே பரிச்சயமான ஒருவர் தான் எங்களுடைய சதீஷ் பாலா ஏகேஐ DJ Sathish B.
Wow, what an intro. Vanakkam.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. And
happy to have you here, finally.
Yeah.
Long overdue.
No, it is long overdue.
Yeah.
But, everything happens when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, man.
Especially because this year is a big year for you.
Yeah.
Right? And for the journey you have been on, it's a huge year. And I think that's why we were put on hold. Okay, this is the right time to do this.
Yeah, wait. There's a lot of big things happening in my life. Which one are you talking about?
All of them. Maybe all of them. Especially of one of the things that you see on a sweater, on a hoodie.
That's right. The little thing we created. Yeah, Desi Fest is 20 years old this year.
And Sathish looks like the same for the past 20 years.
I
He
know.
didn't even age at all.
I like to be frozen at 39. 39, 40. Just pause until, I get
Maybe
older.
you should tell your secret. What is it? So I think a lot of people want to do that.
What do they say? Happy wife, less stress, less wrinkles. So that's the secret, man. And it's our 20th year. Every year is starting from zero. Even though the brand has equity, and but when you do anything for free, you never know how to really build it, because every year is a different community. But also, we're a public platform, and immigration has really changed the last 5-6 years, and so a new market is here.
Yeah.
So we have to understand what's their expectations and things like that, and also the artist community. When I started year one, we booked everybody we can for one show, and that was about 30 of them. Now our auditions alone is like almost 300 plus.
Wow.
And we have to choose 25 out of that 300. Good problems to have, because I dreamt about this stuff, so I can't complain. But at the same time, it's humbling that for 20 years we've been able to stay consistently, in music, and especially downtown Toronto, especially this diversity that I've been preaching. We're not one culture, we're not one religion, we're not one language, which is really tough, especially for a guy who only speaks Tamil and English, and 99% of the content I don't understand. So as a creative guy, and so,
You guys heard that right. Tamil, he said Tamil.
Yeah.
Nalla Tamil pesuven.
Yeah.
Hindi, Punjabi, none of it is there, right? And
Yeah.
so, when you sort of zoom out, you go, man, this is a wild formula for 20 years, but I think that formula is what makes us so different and unique.
In this 20 years, you must have met a lot of people, right? Like a lot of artists.
Yeah, that's one of the blessings, my mom always used to say, like, academically I was a stupid kid, and it's well documented. I mean, we left Singapore. I grew up in Singapore.
Right.
We left Singapore because I failed the test. You do a test at 14, and based on the outcome, the country determines whether you're blue collar or white collar, and everybody does it. Right?
Okay.
Oh.
And so I failed it, and I knew I was going to be only option for blue collar work. And my dad was like, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And so, when you're labeled that early as a young person that you're not smart, or you're dumb, or you're not sort of following the normal path, the only option my parents gave me was like, hopefully your personality will get you far.
Well, it clearly did.
So I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? So even now when I hang out with my mom, she's like, man, you talk, and now that became sort of what you do for a living.
Yeah.
And so, I meet a lot of people, but what's interesting now is I meet people that have a music purpose. Before it was sort of like, I can sing. Now it's, I have a path, I have a purpose. How can I get better? How can I move forward? And when you are around long enough, you get to see stuff. You've been in this business how long too, right? And so, 20 years, 2 decades, man. Like, last year we had dancers on stage that were 21, 22 that came to the festival when they're 7 or 8, saw me on stage and was like, oh, I want to be a dancer, and one day I could be on this stage. And then, 12 years later, they're on stage with me. It's crazy.
But I mean, that's the blessing when you do something, like when you create a brand like this, because Desi Fest grew to a point now where people like other artists want to be on that stage. They feel, okay, this is a prestigious stage I want to be on. Where they put that on their list of things to achieve, right? Okay, I want to be on the stage one day, right? And I think that is what you have to be like really proud of, like what you created, like starting from year 1, looking at year 20, like how far this brand has grown, and even on a global. Like worldwide, people know about Desi Fest, and I think that is what the great achievement is here.
No, I appreciate that, and also, and I used to be like every good South Indian, like super humble about it, and I'd be like, oh, But then I realized, me being humble sort of minimizes the potential. Yeah. And the opposite is like fully ego driven, which is also bad, right? Yeah. So you got to find a middle ground where you celebrate your accomplishments and the work you've put in, but not in an ego perspective where you're like, look at what I did, right? There's no I'm an idea that's built with tons of people behind me. And I am the face for protection more than brand. Because, when I first started the festival, we had a creative director who was designing all the flyers and stuff. And I said, listen, nobody knows these artists. Nobody knows the culture. So if it's a flop, then everybody on the flyer will be the target of, right? Because Desi Fest, the name didn't mean anything. Yeah. But once I say, here's 38 people that are on stage, they become the bullseye. Yeah. If it worked out, awesome. If it flopped, then they're going to be hurt. Yeah. So I said, make me the brand. So then if it flops, that guy Sathish did something and it was horrible. Nobody showed up, or there was a fight, or, all that stereotypical shit. I was like, I'll absorb it. Yeah. But if it's good, then they shouldn't remember me. They'll remember the talent. And that model has sustained until now, where I'm still on the flyers with the same philosophy that if you're going to hate somebody, look at me. Yeah. If you're going to share the love, here's all the artists.
All the artists.
Right. And so it's been really interesting sort of thinking through how do you become a public person? Because until this show happened 20 years ago, yes, I was DJing and all this stuff, but I wasn't a public persona. I was just a guy doing stuff like every other DJ, every other promoter. But this elevated my presence to a much bigger level. Yeah. But that also comes a halo effect of like, people pay attention to my kids, people pay attention to my wife, people pay attention to my family, and that was a little bit scary in the beginning. Yeah. But I think generally, if you do stuff for the right reasons, at the end of the day, the cards land properly in life. I believe it.
There's like 2 things I wanted to like point out, and also like get your opinion on it. Like, over the years, you obviously seen artists that are like newcomers. At some point, they came on stage as a newcomer, and some of them obviously they are well established now and came back on stage as a superstar, right? And then also like thinking of your family. I mean, when you started Desi Fest, your daughter was not even born, right? And now it got to a point where she was DJing at the event and stuff as well. Yeah. So like to see that, like to see your kids grow with the brand. Like, can you say something about that?
Yeah, I think the term artist is a little misleading, right? Because I think we pigeonhole it to like certain people that produce content, right? Singer, songwriter, filmmaker. But I think all of us are artists. Like whatever you end up doing, whether it's 9 to 5 or you paint on the side of, So I think the term, in my case, is performers, because we're a live music platform. Yeah. So I'm only focused on, does your content translate to a live experience? Because a lot of amazing, talented people whose songs are not at the right tempo or the right BPM for me from a music festival. They might be good at a nightclub or a jazz lounge or whatever, right? And so that's important, because when artists reach out to me for Desi Fest, I have to get them to understand that your style of songs and music is really good. Yeah. Just not for a loud music festival. Right. And so that's the first thing that we had to learn how to deal with artists. Second is, in our category, when an artist blows up, it's either because your music happened to go viral, or you're booked everywhere for weddings, and all of a sudden you're a big deal. Because none of us in North America get the Grammys and Junos and all these public accolades as an artist. And so when an artist is successful, what does that mean? Right, as an industry standard. We have to learn how to deal with that, because I'll see an artist who's really good, and then we'll book them at like 3-4 o'clock. Great. And then 3 years later, they had 2 YouTube songs that went viral, maybe paid for, maybe not, who knows.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I am 10x my value. What? You know, so we had to understand how to even measure the value of somebody. And so, you know, so when I look at artists, I look at how's the quality of your content, and then is the quality of the content good enough to put on stage? Because we've made the mistake of putting the right artist at the wrong time when the crowd doesn't resonate. Right?
Yeah.
Or vice versa, putting the right artist at the wrong time. And so when we're planning a 12-hour show at 30-minute intervals and the crowd is changing in a public space, people don't understand that math that we have to do, right? Because if I were to book you and book an auditorium and sell tickets, they're coming for Steve.
Yeah.
They know for 2 hours it's the Steve show.
Yeah.
We control the sound, the light, the audio, the experience. But not at a public space like Sankofa Square, where I have audio on stage, I have crowd noise, I have food vendors, I have ambulances and traffic. So the definition of artist for Desi Fest is much more complex. That's why when I tell people, just because you know me or come to an open mic, it's hard for us to think about how to position you because our math is very different. But at the same time, more and more people that are coming to this country now are actually amazing, talented performers from back home.
Yeah.
It's like the same taxi cab syndrome. You know, there's a cab driver who's a doctor because he's not certified. Here, I meet so many amazing people on open mic, and you're like, wait, you have Carnatic classes from age 5? You've been doing sellout shows in Punjab for 10 years, and here you're like, what do I do, you know? Yeah. And so we look at artists differently in the last 5 years, and the first 10 years where there was no space to develop artists, right? Like, and so it was a lot of like, we get what we get.
Yeah.
Take the best 30 out of the worst 300. Now it's hard because now we're choosing 30 good out of 300 amazing.
Yeah.
And I want that problem. I want this problem to be even bigger. And we want to train all the other festivals and all the other shows to say, hey, go Canadian first. Those days of like, we need to import talent so people will show up is not there anymore. Like shit, last year we showed the entire world and all across North America that you can do a full Canadian lineup and still get 60, 70,000 people out because the quality is good. People, even my own team was like, are you sure we want to do this? There's no headliners. There's no big. I'm like, no, man, we have enough amazing talent and we should just see what happens. And then, you know, here we are. And so I think the talent pool is getting better and it's creating more stress for us, but it's good.
It's a good stress.
Yeah, you know, and on the family side, my vision was very simple, man. Like, you know, when I started the festival, I was trying to answer the question personally of like, what does brown mean? You know, like born in Vellore, left at 3, didn't really know much about the culture, but I had a version of the culture in Singapore.
Yeah.
But it was also very heavily influenced by Malaysian culture, Tamil culture, Sri Lankan culture. And then I didn't really know what it meant other than I'm surrounded by a bunch of Asians. I didn't even think I was South Asian.
Yeah.
I'm just Asian because my buddies are Chinese and Malaysian. It's only when I came to Canada, it was this identity crisis of like, who are you? Are you, you know, are you a Hindu? Are you Muslim? Are you Tamil or Tamil speaker? Are you South Indian?
Yeah.
You know, do you eat beef? Do you not? Like, I was like, what the frig, man? Like, I don't know. I'm just a brown dude that get off a plane, labeled dumb and stupid. Now I don't know who you guys are. And so one of the things that I was trying to help, at least in my own family, is from the very age, not get them into this thought leadership of like, what does brown mean? So with Layla being exposed to all cultures, all communities from a young age, it's naive to say she doesn't see color, but she doesn't discriminate by color. For her, everybody is just equally cool. If the energy is good, the vibe is good, you're good. Also, the fact that she's a girl, I didn't want her to sort of feel like she can't be in the front of things, right? So we put her in the front from the beginning. And I got pictures of like 2-year-old Layla holding a mic beside me on stage with nothing to say. And now at 19, she can be 19 this year, she's extremely independent, super confident. She could walk into any room and will leave making an impression. And those things are skills that arts can teach.
Yeah.
right? Music can teach more than school can teach. And so for us, it's hopefully a blueprint for other parents to go, man, like, if I want my kid to be more confident and extrovertedness and be comfortable around all types of people, you can only get that through arts and art training and being around other creative people. So that was the idea around like putting my kids right into. My son is into it now. He's 12 and he's been doing his push-ups and he wants to throw the t-shirts far this year. Last year it wasn't far enough for him. But I love that, like, hopefully the generation going forward, we're not going to miss our identity. Like we're always going to hold on to who we are. I'm Punjabi, I'm Tamil, I'm South Indian, but that shouldn't be the starting division.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's what I'm hoping this new generation could do. And so, yes, it's a music festival, but when you unpack behind it, there's so many sub stories that we try to take on in the last 10 years, 20 years, stereotype, gender bias. We're the only festival that aggressively tries to book 50% female artists. Right. If we don't, it's only because they didn't apply.
Yeah.
Right. We're the only festival that tries to make sure all the production jobs are also gender biased, because there's a lot of great females that can do, stage production and be the line tech in front of house, but they don't get the chance, So we're like, we're going to give you the chance, We've raised almost $3 million in 20 years and 98% of it has gone back into the community, which I'm super proud of, right?
That's amazing.
So these are all stories that build the book each year. It's not pre-planned.
Yeah.
The basic assumption is, can we build a stage where South Asians can come together without stereotype, without gender bias, without, discrimination. And if we can do that through the umbrella of music, then it's inclusive, So that's the vision behind the two. But, so much of what's happened, it's a two-way street. It's, as I told you before, it's just a concrete stage until people show up.
Yeah.
Right? Like Desi Fest is an ideology more than a music festival. So I'm glad that like our ideology has permeated into the culture.
That's amazing. We know the idea. Like you were saying, you start as you being the brand, and there's no I, but I for the idea. Yeah. But what I want to know is, we know the idea, but how the idea came to you, like.
Yeah. So, when I was starting to DJ, there wasn't a lot of South Asian events in the Toronto scene, right? We're talking 20 years ago, 22 years ago. I'm a technically great DJ. Like I grew up being taught by some of the best DJs in Scarborough. I've always DJed like hip hop, R&B, reggae, never really focused on any other genre because back then it was all vinyls, right?
Oh,
so
you
can't get vinyl Tamil music or Hindi music easy.
Yeah.
So I was in that pool. And then when I got to university, it was the first time I got to know about like these student associations. I'm in the Tamil Student Association. I'm in the Hindu Student Association. I'm in the South Asian Student Association. So when these parties and stuff happen, I realized there's a lot of good DJs, but they weren't technically good DJs. They were just mixing like on and off buttons, right? Yeah. So I was like, man, let me mess around. And thankfully, by that time, CDJs were coming out. So then I could start to buy CDs of these music. And so I had a buddy of mine who was like just a good like curator. He knows the music, but he's not a DJ. So we would go to Gerrard Street and he'll buy all these CDs that are Hindi songs, the Punjabi songs. And then he would like label them for me, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And I would just start mixing them.
Right.
And I would already be playing hip hop and R&B and reggae, and Punjabi music blends really nicely and some Bollywood stuff. And so I would just start mixing stuff. And that led to my first concept called Bombay Martini downtown.
Okay.
Historically, it's still the first event that actually played all genres on one night. And I was a DJ. And he would be just giving me the music.
Nice.
And then people are like, yo, you guys do a wicked like South Asian party.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started to get into the scene. And then when I sort of looked at, how do we sort of build this thing, the country was still very racist. We couldn't get a club night. We couldn't get a private venue. So all that like anger was building up in me without a place to go. And then I started my agency in 2006. My word got out that I'm a good marketer. I'm a good storyteller. So a South Asian music festival that was already happening called GICK Fest reached out to see if I can help with marketing. So this was my first time going into a festival, and I loved it. Like I learned so much from Cheryl, the CEO. But one thing that always bothered me was like they were paying a lot of money to bring foreign artists,
Right.
but locally you had to pay to get on stage. And I'm like, ooh, and I'm the local guy, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
yo, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
Especially when there's government funding and this is a free event
Yeah.
at Dundas. And so when my time was up, I said, listen, can I license a brand? Because I think she was going to get out of the business. Rumor had it. And she said, listen, my brand is my brand, but since you know the blueprint, you just do your own. Like, you don't need to borrow mine. And I was like, you know what? I can. And so I put up a post on 2006 on Facebook, April 2nd, saying, I have a music festival that's happening May 31st. I'm looking for artists. Because I was like, yo, let me just do it. If I'm going to do it, I'll just do it. And we're trying to get venues and nobody would give me a venue.
Oh.
Like literally people are like, we don't want South Asian branding in here, right?
Oh my God, okay.
And so I said, well, if she's not doing her festival and they already had reserved their date for May 31st, why don't I just see if the city would give it to me? Because they all knew me by now by working on the project.
Exactly.
So then I confirmed with her she's not doing it that year.
Yeah.
I went to the city and I said, you already have the spot, but I have a brand called Desi Fest. I have a sponsor with RBC. Can I take the date? So they're like, cool. Then I was like, shit, man, how am I supposed to fill up the square? Nobody knows me.
Yeah.
But when I'm obsessed and I'm a little angry, I'm very good. I burn out really fast, but it was a 60-day window.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's just go crazy for 60 days. And what's the worst case scenario? Nobody shows up. That's impossible because it's downtown Toronto. I'll get walked by traffic no matter what, right? 2, what's my worst case scenario? There's no talent. Okay, we'll book 5 or 6 artists and we'll make it about DJs. Because I'm a DJ, I can play. What's the worst case? The weather was horrible and everything goes to shit. Whatever, I can't control that. 4th, what if everybody shows up and people start fighting each other? Because I misunderstood the culture, right? Then I should be the face to take the blunt of the force. So once I go through all of my worst case scenarios, because I learned very early in life as an entrepreneur that fear is made up. And fear's job is to protect you, right?
Yeah.
So its job is to conceive all of the most amazing shit that can go wrong with the hope that it scares you not to do it because the mind is supposed to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So I've learned my trick is I just go through every one of those bad scenarios. I write it all down and I get out of my system that this is not reality. This is all worst case scenarios.
And then have a solution in case.
Even if I don't have the solution,
Okay.
the minute you write it all down,
Yeah.
it goes from imaginary to actual and it disappears.
Right.
And it works for everybody who, like, if you ever tried it,
Yeah.
if you're stuck in this mode of fear,
Damn, that's a good trick. That's
crazy,
yeah.
you know what, tell me all the worst case scenario, and you just write it all down. Like maybe it's a couple of pages, maybe it's 2 lines.
Yeah.
But once you get it out from your mind to a book, it becomes useless because that exercise is over. So then my mind just sort of shut down because I wrote it all down. I know what could happen. Okay, cool, let's get to work.
That's amazing.
And so I booked 38 artists.
Yeah.
Mathematically, it's impossible to do 38 artists, 30 minutes each in 12 hours.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know.
30 minutes, okay.
I was like, yo, you want to perform? Because I was aggressive and angry to show the community that A, we have enough talent to do homegrown, and B, that we need a festival for homegrown. So I was like, let's go. I booked. The day was very stressful because we had no idea how to actually do the production. But I had enough experience. Again, it's one of those things where people are like, oh my gosh, how'd you know how to do a festival? Well, before I did a festival, I've done hundreds of club nights.
Yeah.
From the empty ones to the packed ones. I know how to deal with security. I know how to do flyer design. I was the guy outside of nightclubs handing out flyers. I was the one who know how to figure out how to lose money at an event and how to make. So 80% of the structure of a Desi Fest, I've built 10 years already knowing.
Right.
The difference is the size of the space. The fact that there's no in and out it's just an open process, and that it's so heavily sponsorship driven.
Right.
I can learn those 3 things when the other 15 things I've already done and failed and learned. Because so much of starting anything new is muscle memory.
Yeah.
Right? And when the anxiety kicks in, it's because it hasn't been trained on how to deal with that anxiety. I've already dealt with that anxiety. When you have a Saturday night downtown Toronto nightclub and you spend 2 months promoting a Valentine's Day party and nobody shows up, you have to live with it.
Yeah.
Until 1 a.m. because the club owner is staring at you and nobody's coming in. And so I've had all of these horrible experiences that already gave me the muscle memory on how to deal with that anxiety. And most people that start anything new, your failure point starts from fear and then not having the muscle memory to go through the anxiety. You get those 2 things done, you could do whatever you want in life. Right?
That's crazy.
Which is what I believe in anyways. And so that's how we got through it, man. And so when we started this thing, I had no idea who was going to show up. And I think it was around like 1, 2 o'clock where I was literally emotionally a wreck because there was still only like maybe 600-700 people there. And I was like, man, I need to get away from here to like take a break. So I went downstairs to go to the bathroom. I had contacts on back then, so I couldn't even cry because my eyes were so dry.
Right, yeah.
I was like, what the hell? But something magical happened, man. Between like that 1:30 to 2:30 where I disappeared and we had a band playing, I went downstairs at Young Dundas to go to the bathroom and just like sit in the green room and just recollect my thoughts. I came up and the freaking square was full.
Packed.
It was like, it was just around like 1:32 and the students started coming out.
Yeah.
A lot of people came out to make sure it failed. You know, that whole thing like, yo, who's going to be there? Let me go see.
Yeah.
And then they showed up anyways. And all of a sudden, by like 3-4 o'clock, the square was full.
Yeah.
And then it just got busier and busier and busier. And we did almost 30,000 the first year, 30,000 people.
Wow.
And it was magical. It was like, it didn't click to me what we've done until, you know, a few days later. But I still remember standing on stage looking at all these people going, man, oh man. Like we've started something. I don't know what it is yet, but we started something, you know. So yeah, that's the.
But bunch of the people that came actually to see if you're gonna fail, they actually made it a success at the end of the day.
100%, you know,
because they showed up.
Yeah, and this is part of the culture where you know there's people who are driven by curiosity and support, and then there's people that show up to see if the house is burning.
Yeah,
you know, and that's okay. Yeah. Everybody's invited.
All right, I wanted to actually ask you like how you got into DJing. Because end of the day, that whole DJ life translated into you creating Desi Fest, and we are now 20 plus years into it. Yeah. But how did it all actually start? Because usually, like, you know how it is in Tamil households, it's like, okay, you know what? Yeah, my friend's son is learning this, or my friend's daughter is learning this. You should go try it out too. Neem boy dance palagu, or neem boy paadu. Right? So, அப்படிதான் இருக்கும்.
Even with education too, right?
Yeah. So அந்த புள்ள டாக்டருக்கு படிக்குது நீ என்ன படிக்க போற. So it's like it's always like comparisons. That's how the brown community is. I think anyone is like that. It's not only the Tamil community, it's like the Punjabi community. It's anyone really, right? They always compare themselves to others and they push you to become like that or outdo them kind of thing. That's always like it's not about okay, what's your happiness? What do you want to do? It's always like you need to be better than this person. You need to be better than this relative and stuff like that, right? But how did I mean, you said it in a funny way earlier. Like your mom said, okay, you know what, you're academically dumb. Let's see what else you can do. But obviously, you had the opportunity to do something with your other skills. But you were not forced to, okay, you know what, you may be academically done, but I'm going to somehow drill you and make you good. Right? So your parents didn't do that. And I think a lot of kids went through that route, right? And they were somehow like, you know, forced and somehow like drilled to become something they didn't want to be.
I know, but I just feel bad because as you're setting up this question, I'm like, the answer is so horrible.
I also want to add to that question.
That's okay.
I also want to add to this question your parents' reaction.
Yeah.
Because the reason you mentioned you moved over here because you failed the test, and then you're coming here and starting full DJ things. I'm sure your parents don't have or know the knowledge about that.
About DJing.
Yeah, exactly. So when you mentioned that, I want you to mention about. Maybe now when you think about it, it might sound funny, or you might tell in a funny way. But
I mean, So let's talk about parents for a second. So my dad's firstborn of a big family, engineer. Worked his way through. Poor family. Took the bike to the university every day. All that. Like he had a hard life. But my dad's side is farmers, all corn, and my mom's side is all rice farmers.
Okay.
And my mom's the eldest, right? And so my dad is like, yo, I don't want to be a corn farmer. He hates entrepreneurship because his dad was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And his dad, like me, would put the community in front of the family. So when he has a lot of money, instead of saving it for the rainy day, he'll help the other families. So my dad was always like, yo, what is this entrepreneurship nonsense? Why don't you take care of the family first?
Yeah.
Because in bad times, everybody's bad.
Yeah.
And good times, we're not saving. So then what the hell?
Yeah.
And so the reason for that narrative is, I decided to become an entrepreneur because I just didn't want to work for anybody. Because if you look at my trajectory, from India to Singapore and leaving Singapore to Canada, it was under this heavy cloud of teachers and parents saying, this is not good enough. This is not good enough.
Yeah.
Then I get to high school and I'm like, yo, I could do whatever I want. Now there's no guidelines at all, which is the opposite of the same feeling going, I don't know what to do. What am I good at, etc. And then I get to university and then it's like a structured lack of time now. Oh shit, in 4 years, I have to get a job or do something. And so at some point I decided, man, I don't want to work for anybody because I'm tired of people telling me what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, what's my ceiling,
Yeah.
what I don't want to be reviewed. In fact, I didn't even want to go to an interview because I have to convince you to somehow to give me a job.
Yeah.
I was like, man, because I've been living this life where nothing was good enough. My best wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And so I was already in that headspace in university. But high school is when really life started because I came here end of grade 8, didn't really have any friends.
Right.
And then I went right into grade 9. And y'all remember grade 9. It's the jungle.
Yeah.
Most people already made their friends already.
Right.
Everybody's got their clique. There's a new brown kid, And so I was struggling in high school, like how to make friends. And then I figured I had a good jump shot. I didn't even know. I played soccer most of, my life in Singapore. So I came here, and then during gym I started playing basketball. Apparently I was good at it. I didn't even know. So then now all of a sudden I'm in that basketball culture.
Yeah.
Right. And grade 9 and grade 10 was in Malvern.
Okay.
And Malvern is tough for basketball, man. So I never made it onto the floor for a game, but I made the team. I was on the bench.
Yeah.
I became part of that crew. And back then, it was all like, black kids. And,
Right, yeah.
and not even enough Indian kids. We're not that tall.
Yeah.
And so I was in that West Indian black culture by default just because of basketball. That's where my early introduction to music is. My first tape I ever purchased, Maestro Fresh West. The first song I love, Let Your Backbone Slide. Like, I grew up in that ecosystem. And so sometime around grade 11 or 12, I was invited to a old school Scarborough basement party. Somebody's parents are out, so then they convert the basement, one light tube in the middle, right?
Okay.
The middle's empty. Every guy's on the wall with the girl.
Yeah.
There's a DJ spinning. And I remember going to my very first party, and I was blown away, man, by like the turntables and the DJ and the MC on the mic and everybody's jamming. And I was alone. I was single. I haven't met any girls yet. I don't know how to meet girls, right? Like, you don't learn from your I didn't have an older brother.
Yeah.
I didn't have like homies from grade 8. I didn't talk to my dad about it because he's already like, yada, man, who cares, right? They don't even care.
Yeah,
They just like, they're trying to figure out survival. So the impetus to learn DJ was like, yo, the DJ is mad cool. So if I'm a DJ, I can meet girls.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Now I
Simple
get
as
why
that.
you were like laughing when I asked the question.
Right? So I was like, I just wanted to meet girls.
Yeah.
So then I asked a buddy of mine to teach me how to DJ. And we spent the summer learning how to DJ. And vinyl DJing is tough.
Yeah.
Right? But I also learned, again, just like my jump shot, that apparently I naturally am a good DJ. I can pick up the beats really fast. I can mix genre, and just it made sense to me. You know,
Yeah.
4-bar, 8-bar, 6. Like I don't know how. I don't have any formal music education, so I was like, this is kind of cool. This is fun. So I
ஏற்கனவே ப்ரீசெட் பண்ணி தான் அனுப்பியிருக்கு.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
literally.
So I was like, this is good. So I started playing with it. And so finally, one of the house parties, he's like, listen, I got to go take a pee. Do you want to jump on for a few minutes? I'm like, yes. So then I jumped on, but no girls talked to me. And I was like, yo, this is not good. So then I'm watching, and all the girls are talking to the guy with the mic.
Yeah.
Because he's the MC, and I didn't know the MC protects the DJ from all these drunk people. But I'm there to meet people.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is not fun, because I'm just DJing, and everybody's having a good time, and the MC's getting all the love. So I'm like, I want to learn how to MC. So then I watched my buddy, and I studied it, and then he was teaching me the tricks.
Yeah.
Went to MC with the beat changes, on the beat drops, you know, because back then set changes were tough.
Yeah.
BPM changes were tough, right? And so I learned the art of crowd control by watching him.
Yeah.
And then same thing, another party, you know, somebody had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, yo, I'll hop on the mic. And then I was like, yo, this is dope. So now I'm starting to meet ladies, and I'm like, this is kind of cool, because they're all talking to me. And then I was like, well, the guy who really has the power is the guy with the guest list, the actual promoter of the event, because he's the most famous guy in the room. He's the one hiring me, the MC, and the DJ.
He knows everyone.
So if I want to be the top dog, I got to be the promoter. I got to be the guy who runs the event. And that took me on a 10-year journey of learning how to produce events and all this stuff. And sadly, for that story, somewhere along the line, university, I met my wife. Who was my first girlfriend. I never met any other girls. we dated for 7 years, and then we got married, and now we've been together for 35 years. And so the bonus is that I became a really good DJ and learned the art of, you know, the music business. The double bonus is I only had to meet one girl.
Which is amazing.
And it was good, you know.
That's great.
But the impetus for me was to, again, try to figure out what is the best in every scenario I walk in. So if I'm in the DJ ecosystem, how do I become the best DJ? Which is fine, but it wasn't fulfillment enough. And then what's the next step up? I want to be the best MC. And then on top of that, I want to be the best producer. And then the same way when we got into Desi Fest, yes, we did the first festival, but like to become the best festival, what do we have to do? And then we've been attacking these little things 1% every year. So now when I say, hey, what's the criteria of the best festival? We have the best artist experience. I've never met an artist who had a bad time. We've got the best volunteer program. We've got the best sponsor relationship. We've got the best city relationship. We've got the best programming for 12 hours of diversity, right? And so same thing with entrepreneurship. You know, once I got into it, my parents didn't like it anyway, because they're like, back then, you're either employed or unemployed. They don't understand entrepreneurship. So for them, like, you're always home. And you're working on computers and talking to people and pagers, but we have no idea what you're doing. You don't have a job. So they hated me anyway. So then, you know.
Doesn't make any difference.
and listen, when I got off the plane at 14 or 15, I said, other people's opinions are not going to be mine. So it didn't really matter. Like whether it's mom or dad or the city official or I don't care. Other people's opinions about me is not my opinion of myself.
And but how's the difference between your parents day one and today?
So my mom has always seen a bigger version of me. And I think as once my dad passed away 15 years, I got much closer with my mom, and I realized she is me. The extrovertedness, the ability to talk to anybody on a bus or a Walmart. I mean, this lady, bro, like, you know, grew up in a village, didn't know English, married a husband who took her out from Baylor to Singapore and then to Canada. You know, within 2 years, she would walk into a Walmart and people would know her. I was like, how? Like, how often are you here? You know, hello, auntie. And I was like, why are you an aunt? You know,
since when?
So I realized so much of my obsessiveness with quality, my ability to just meet people, my need for others as my superpower. Like when I charge up, I need others around me, right? I in isolation, it's like Superman and kryptonite. Like I'm not good, you know? And so I've seen in the last 10, 15 years, like, who am I through her finally? Because when my dad was alive, she was shielded under him.
Yeah.
So she never really got exposed.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see any part of me in my dad. Complete opposite. I could have been adopted for all I care, right? But so when he, rest in peace, she sort of now flourished. Then I got to go, oh man, this is me. Now I know where all this stuff comes from. So we've had a really good bond, and she's always supported the artistic side of me, even though she doesn't understand it. But my dad was in complete denial, because for him it's like, if you're not the version I thought of you in the day you were born, you're dead to me. And a lot of Tamil people do that. A lot of our parents do that, right? They don't give time for the student to develop. They don't give time for the kid to figure things out.
Yeah.
Because from the day you're born, especially as a male, your destiny is defined by your dad's opinion of what they couldn't be.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I am everything my dad couldn't be, but I didn't want to be who he was. I didn't want that structured life. I didn't want that 9 to 5. And he didn't understand my blueprint. And so for most of my life, we never really engaged in conversations. We lived in the same house, but it was quiet.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up with a male father figure, in that sense, even though I had a father. And so, when Desi Fest happened, same thing is like, look at this guy on stage acting like a clown. I'm not going, So he didn't come the first 3 years until all of his friends are like, oh, we're going this year.
Yeah.
What time are you going to be there? Because they assume he's there every year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then now he's like, oh, usually I come at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. But what time are you going? So I'll be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
What?
So the first time he came was like 3 years in. And I remember I was like, man, I was choked up to see, your father at the event for the first time. And, I think he didn't actually know what I was doing until he showed up and he saw the crowd.
Yeah.
He saw the words of like kindness on stage from artists and people about his son. And it was really if this was a movie, like I couldn't have wrote this as a better script. There was an artist performing for 30 minutes, young artist, right? And so I was like, yo, it's perfect time. I got to run to the bathroom. So I went downstairs, but I didn't realize she was so nervous that 15, 20 minutes into a set, she was done. She was just like nervous and scared.
Oh.
So it screwed up the timeline because I'm still downstairs.
Yeah.
There's no host to fill in the gap.
Right.
And then we still have like her 10 minutes and another 10 minute for set change.
Yeah.
So the DJ was like, yo, where's Sats B? Somebody call him up. And like, obviously I'm in the basement. So as I'm coming up, it's like everybody's going, Sats B, starting to get my attention. And he was just joking, saying, everybody say Sats B, let's catch him. But it's kind of cool, man, because as I'm coming up, running on stage, everybody's chanting Sats B, but then my dad's looking at me.
I was just
looking at me. I'm looking at him. I could see like a little tear going. It was a beautiful moment, man. Like I would never forget that moment that universe created and all those people that made that magic happen. So after that festival, we started to build a relationship again. I think he finally found a reason to respect me for who I am and not what I wasn't. And we still didn't really get to like chummy.
Yeah.
But we will talk every time, and it'll be always around the festival. How many food vendors are coming, and did you figure out your math? Is your margins right? And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so we just had a reason to talk, and so this is one of the backstories of like the festival sort of helping me and my dad find a small bridge,
Right.
that couldn't have happened if it didn't happen. So it took a winding road to get there, but we got there.
Well, hats off to the friends that asked him what time he'll be there.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the power of like our culture, where sometimes our culture does things to own like your face.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, look, I don't go because I don't agree with Satish's lives, it's easier for him to say, I come every time. I'll take the win. That's the pressure of the culture that helped. But by the time he passed away from cancer, we had at least a decent relationship that I didn't have for the first like 30 years. So I was thankful for that.
Of course, definitely something.
Yeah.
to remember and also like cherish for life, right? Like towards the end that you had a good relationship.
And these are stories that's not just mine. You know, I've had artists who come on stage where they're nervous to perform because they recognize an uncle in the square, and they're like, "Oh, my family doesn't know I'm an artist." And I'm like, "Listen, it's too late now." You know. And in fact, the uncle's version of you get a chance to correct now in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
I've had guys who come on stage and they've got their kids in front with their wife, and more than the audience, they want their kids to know that your dad immigrated to the new country, struggles, but I'm living my dream, and that's a story for their kid to have.
Absolutely.
So in a crowd of 20,000 people, this guy is singing to two little kids in the front. I love that story. You know, there's so much of these like moments of representation. You know, the kid that looked at the stage and said, "I want to be a dancer one day." Without knowing that I have no idea if I'm going to do the show next year. Right? Like, you know, I love that we're in the culture to a point where the culture believes we'll be around. Even though I have no idea how am I going to fund it next year. But somebody's little person dream became true at a 20-year-old level, right? And so when you add up all these stories, I'm still like, man, 20 years is crazy.
That's crazy.
You know, and these are the stories I know.
Yeah, there's plenty of stories you wouldn't know, right? So I think this is probably like a good moment to tell people also who are part of Desi Fest in some way to come forward and to say like how it changed like their life in even if it's a small scale, it doesn't matter. Change is a change end of the day, right? So for good or better, like there's definitely, like you said, like one dancer came up to you. You know what? I came when I was 7. I wanted to be on the stage, and today I'm on stage with you. I'm sure there's like hundreds of artists that have a similar story like that.
Yeah, even globally, you know, like Ashante, one of the artists that was on stage last year, she's like, the first time I saw you was, you know, when I was new to the country and I was walking by Young Dundas Square, and I was like, what is this? And she's like, man, I was like, I got to manifest being on stage. She was on stage 5 years later.
Amazing.
You know, I met this guy, Sangeet, who was on stage last year. He came from India just after COVID. And he's like, when I was telling my friends I'm going to Toronto, they were like, you got to find and meet this guy, Sathish Bala in Desi Fest. And then he showed up to open mic. And then we became friends, and I've been mentoring him. And then he went on stage, and he's like, shit. You know, the fact that there's like, I was like, what? People told you in India to come find me in Toronto? That's like the most immigrant thing to tell somebody, you know. Steve, can I like a point on that? Go look for this guy, Sathish. Where?
But I told you this. Globally, people know about Desi Fest.
So I appreciate that there's a conversation around, you know, people's dreams that we are a part of. And I take that really seriously.
There's so many artists in Europe, independent artists that talk about Desi Fest. They know about it. Okay, so now I think we should be talking about
my skincare routine. No, just
that should be a good idea too, actually. Maybe another episode.
Sponsored by Sephora. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be cool though. If you see that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Was Sephora ever the sponsor for Desi Fest?
No, maybe
if anyone is watching?
Yeah.
Watching, please.
I was wanted to talk to you about Nila. I wanted to bring that up. And also now, this year is also exciting. Okay, apart from being the 20th year of Desi Fest, we have now a couple of days of Desi Fest. And I think that is huge as well.
Yeah, massive.
And I wanted to talk about that more and then talk about what people can expect from the added extra day of Desi Fest.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for that. I'll talk about that, and then we'll go back to Nila. And so part of our mandate always has been to sort of celebrate all parts of the culture, right? Not just Bollywood and Punjabi music, but also hip hop and R&B and alternative and rock and stuff. And so when we first started, the community wasn't as Bollywood. It was all variety of mix. And so if you look back on our lineup from first 5 years, first 10 years, it was a mix of urban music, Bollywood music, Punjabi music, but there was also a heavy focus on sort of the non-Bollywood content. But we noticed after COVID that the crowd has shifted a lot into Bollywood. The new immigration, the people coming in. Bollywood also has gotten much better. I've always been anti-Bollywood because I felt like the Bollywood culture still sort of permeated the same ideology around women at home, you know, sort of the stigmatism of the man before the woman, the mixed marriage issues and all this stuff. So I was like, I don't want to mess with that with that narrative because it doesn't
Yeah.
fit into our ecosystem. And so as the quality of the content got better, also we shifted to more live music. And then we realized quickly the alternative urban content is still very karaoke and CD based or playback based with DJs, and live music is now starting to develop. And so we shifted the model so that Saturday will be all live music. And some genres like hip hop, even with live music, it doesn't resonate well yet. Right. So we said, let's keep Saturday to be live music of sort of the Bollywood Punjabi scene, right? That's the critical mass, makes the sponsors happy, and it's a good time, right? And so everybody on Saturday, all 18, 19 bands are all live music. It'll be a combination of original and tribute. So think, Pujan Kohli and, Arjit Singh and Sona Nigam. Think Sahil potentially with like a whole Bad Bunny meets Bollywood, rearrangement of Bollywood songs into Latin music, right? So every band that we hire, we curate with them the sound and make sure it's live. We might have some surprise foreigners come in for our 20th year to celebrate, but the lineup is still 99% Canadian, which we're super proud of. But all of the folks that we couldn't put on Saturday, now we're moving into Friday. So Friday will be what we call the remix culture. This is the hip hop, the DJs, the break dancers, the EDM. It's South Asians that are...
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Who's that? It's delivery.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yo, your security was on point.
Yeah. He's ready. Always ready. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so now you have to edit a part.
No, just leave it in this mix. It's all good. Zero editing. We got caught with the almost break-in that the security team averted. So I feel safer. Thank you.
Thank you, Skittles.
Yeah. So when we looked at the lineup, we said, how do we now give space for that audience to grow, just the way we did before? And so Friday is our remix night. This is about DJs. It's about hip hop. It's about South Asians that have English as their primary language, because it's harder to put that on Saturday, which is more cultural. So if you're an amazing R&B singer, you happen to be South Asian, sing it, right? And so that's Friday night. It's from 5 to 11 p.m.
And it will also happen.
Both days are happening at the Square because we think the audience deserves to see both. And this is now our vision to say those folks that are really good on a Friday night, their graduation will be into a Saturday night. Just like now we have, unknown folks that go into open mic. From open mic, they go into Desi Fest. Right. Now we have another level to say, if you are a live musician, here's Saturday night. If you are aiming to be live one day, or if you're only doing ethnic language, then here's a place for you. Same stage, same place, same spotlight. There's no difference, right? The other big thing we're doing this year that I'm super proud of is we're curating an entire segment called Colors, celebrating in our history for the first time South Asians who are queer. They've never felt safe on stage before because of this big public space, but it's 2026, and just like we look at everything from the lens of stage and crowd, I want to make sure if there's a young person in the crowd who's queer and who's conflicted and it's got a talent but not sure what to do with this energy, I want that person to see people on stage that can inspire him or her, right? And we've got a great community now of queer South Asians that are DJs and singers and songwriters, and so we're putting together a very powerful, unique set called The Colors. I think it's going to be amazing. And so, again, us continuing to push the boundaries and see what happens. We'll be the first festival with a flyer that's mixed gender. I don't know how the crowd's going to react to it, but hey, this is the world that my kids are growing up in. This is what representation looks like, and we have to be okay and be uncomfortable with all of it. That makes us awesome. So now the pipeline is set. And then one of my pet peeves always has been, as a Tamil-speaking curator, I haven't been able to curate Tamil music. either they're all foreigners, all the European connections, or they're in India and visa is a pain in the ass, or Sri Lanka, or if they're here, they're good artists but not stage ready.
Right.
Right.
Because there's not enough stage opportunities to perform. So Nila, that we've been building together, thank you for coming out and playing music and stuff, is our first attempt in curating the community, but in a performance capacity.
Yeah.
So every segment of Nila is 30 or 40 people that show up. Steve is there on the keys, and we got folks that bring their equipment, and we just sing together. And there's no karaoke, it's live, which I love, right? Because then you get that uncomfortable feeling of holding a mic and singing a song and learning the cadence of the song and memorizing lyrics and performing in front of 20 people. This is the path to getting on stages. This is the path to becoming a performer. And that's what I've always been interested in. So I think, this year, maybe on Friday night, it'd be cool to curate a small section for Tamil music.
Yeah.
Right? And then either we bring in somebody from outside or we curate our own. But I'm finally comfortable in saying we have enough talent with some performance experience that could be curated into something. Because that's what people come for, performance.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing now. So if you are singing in the language of Tamil, and the reason I say it that way is people still identify Tamil as a culture and discriminate against it. And so Steve and I had lots of conversations about this where I don't identify as Tamil, I identify as a South Indian speaking Tamil.
Right.
All my Sri Lankan friends identify as Tamil. So if we do the marketing wrong, it either only brings out the Sri Lankans because they think it's Tamil, or the South Indians go, I don't know what this is about. So Nila, which means moon, it's a way to unify that wherever you are in the world, if you look up, the moon is the moon.
Yeah.
And if we break it down to the music of Tamil, then it's Ilayaraja, S.P. Balasubramaniam, S. Janaki. Like, doesn't matter. If you can sing it, come sing it.
Right.
So we've been trying to build this bridge because, again, if we don't build it right, it becomes a divisive tool, right? Yeah. I didn't want to call it a Tamil thing because there's an identity that we want to respect, right? So this is what we're trying to do. And so hopefully this year we'll curate, even if it's a small, live music session where we have drums, we have keys, we'll do Tamil music for 20, 30 minutes. It's a flagpole moment. Like, now we can't take it back. We only could get better. So that's the vision.
And I think the second day now with Desi Fest, that gives you that opportunity to mold it the way you want it. Because the Saturday is already set.
Yeah.
You can't make too many changes to it because that will backfire. Yeah. And I think adding a second day was the way to go. So you can bring whatever things you couldn't.
Exactly. And I think, my passion always is live music, right? Live music, undisputed king. So it took so long to curate 100% live music show. We've said no to so many artists because they don't want to do live.
Yeah.
Or they want to do +1 or something. And I say, listen, even if you have a +1 backing track, you still need to have a live showcase. Yeah. Because that's, if you're an artist, that's the most ultimate thing you dream of.
Yeah.
Being a live musician. Right? So I'm giving you the platform. So we're no longer booking artists that are like, let me do a CD playback, a lip sync. No, I'll just play the music video. I have better DJs to play the song. Shit, I'll lip sync. People will just jive. You know what I mean? And so I think in the next, God willing, if we're around for the next 5 to 10 years, the funnel is there now to say, hey, if you get the taste of live performance on a Friday, you put the work in, Saturday. And I also don't like the way that Saturday is dominating, Hindi and Punjabi. But we can't interrupt that because the quality is not there yet. Yeah. Right? And so we got to continue to build that up. But that's the next mission for the next 5 years, God willing, if we're able to continue, is to diversify the Saturday more, bring more languages, and then continue to make Friday night uniquely different for that genre. Like, if hip hop and breakdancing is done really good with the DJ scratching, let's do it. We don't have to fake it on a Saturday,
Right. Yeah.
So this is where, our version of authenticity will be defined on Friday night, and then we continue going forward. But I love that like now our lineup not only includes different sort of genders and identities but also now has, you know, Tamil, and it's gonna have West Indian music in there. It's gonna, like, we're really just building out the diversity platform, right? And so I'm super excited for that to happen.
That's exciting. Yeah.
So you obviously always look for like volunteers, and so how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, DesiFest.ca.
Now we're like fully into promoting.
Yeah, I love you for that setup. Thank you. It's a free festival, and so volunteers are the backbone of the company. Amazing volunteers make or break every show. We have our playbook on what, you know, how we operate, and so, you know, we look for great volunteers that have experience, people that don't have experience but have, you know, I think for me, like, the two characteristics of a great volunteer is empathy and compassion. And when you have those two things, you know, people like me, like, we know how to get that out and maximize it and create a great show. And so if you are interested, if it doesn't matter what age you are, if you want to help out, get in touch with us through DesiFest.ca. Also, all the artists who are like, I don't know if I'm good enough. Just simply by applying, you're in our radar.
Yeah.
And we pay attention. And you want that. You want somebody else to go, ooh, let me just keep an eye on this person and see what the potential looks like. Because sometimes you need somebody else to believe in your potential before you believe in it.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Then
Absolutely.
you believe in it blindly because I believe in you. And then your belief system will catch up. But it doesn't have to start like that. So let me believe in all you people that don't have your belief system yet.
Yeah.
And then catch up to me. You know?
So DesiFest.ca is the page to go visit if you want to become a volunteer, or if you want to perform at the event.
Yeah, or if you want to send us money as a sponsor.
Exactly.
Sponsors.
I was getting to that.
You know, all you little restaurants and real estate owners and all these folks that are looking to meet customers.
Yeah.
We'll put you in front of 100,000 South Asians that are...
Even if you want to become a vendor at the event, you should reach out to Sathish.
So many ways to get engaged with us, but just go to DesiFest.ca or our Instagram page or our TikTok page or wherever your content is being consumed. We're there.
Amazing. Yeah, so one more thing I wanted to talk to you about is actually apart from Desi Fest, because you created like a big brand now. So like I said, everybody knows it globally. So it's live music. DJs are getting a chance. You're trying to bring in different languages too now, and all that is there. What else is your plan to do with this brand? Like, you can obviously now, because you have all these bands, amazing bands that are performing, you can actually, you know where I'm getting at. So like bring in productions, for example. Is there any plans for Desi Fest to become like a production house as well?
So sometimes dreaming too big takes your focus away.
Yeah.
And I am constantly unfocused because I dream a lot of all the different things we can do.
Yeah.
But we always ground ourselves back to anything we do has to move the culture forward.
Yeah.
But it has to move it forward in a non-competitive way. Because if we compete against everybody else helping the culture grow, we hurt ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So the three things that we're always focused on is, one, how do we build a stable, healthy artist community? Right? So what does that mean? If it's healthy and stable, then we have lots of original music coming out.
Yeah.
We have lots of people performing and making money. We have lots of consumers that are buying tickets to go experience quality event. I think we're 30% there in that vision. The fact that in Toronto, there's only one Desi Fest.
Yeah.
There should be 5. The fact that there's only, 2 open mics, there should be 10. The fact that less than 1% of the audience I personally know makes original music.
Yeah.
Way too low, right? Yeah. So we're looking at how can we now encourage a healthy ecosystem measured by these things.
Yeah.
Am I getting more gigs?
Right.
Am I releasing original music? Are more fans coming to my shows? That's one objective that we have. The second thing we're working on is how do we now create space ownership? Because without more South Asians owning bars and owning nightclubs and owning radio stations and owning podcasts and media, we still don't have a way to get the content out.
Yeah.
So how do we enable some of that infrastructure? Whether it's us helping fund it, maybe we need to open up our own, performance studio. I don't know.
Yeah.
But without an opportunity to showcase and become media, we don't have a way to talk about us, right?
Yeah.
So that's the second thing we're working on. How can we do it? The third thing for us is how do we now create visibility into the external market that we exist, right? So something simple like we're launching our new directory. The purpose is simply to get everybody who's a musician, singer, songwriter, who's South Asian to opt into a database that we can now say, hey, record label, look, we have over 1,000 people in Canada.
Yeah.
Hey, SOCAN, hey, Factor, Ontario Arts Council. All of these people should be in your radar for applications, for funding, right? And so how do we create that visibility for the community? Because if we can leverage our strength as a national brand to say, we recognize these 1,000 people or 2,000 people as good emerging talent, our credibility opens doors. So we're like, let's do it. Why not, right? So those are the three things that we are working on as an organization.
So over the past 20 years, how many artists have performed so far? Like, let's say, I'm not only talking about singers, but like everyone on stage.
So in a typical year, when you look at the full lineup, there's usually somewhere between, I would say, 50 to 60 people that are performers, dancers, DJs, singers, session players, all that kind of stuff. So if we use a loose number like 50, just for argument's sake, that's almost 1,000 plus in 20 years.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
That's a lot of people, man.
That's a lot of people.
A lot of people. So that's that's a lot of stories. That's a lot of trajectory we've tracked of artists, that
Is the same artist repeat different year, or is it always?
we try not to repeat at all, unless you did something incredible where an album went live and it blew up. And so we obviously recognize talent and success whenever we can, but we try not to duplicate artists, only because there's so much talent.
Yeah.
That's
true.
So if I do bring somebody back, it's because they've done something different that we want to recognize, or they are a part of somebody else's thing. Maybe you're the flutist that comes on a different set, or you're the same drummer for 4 bands, something like that. But typically, we don't rebook anybody 2 years in a row. Yeah.
Okay. And is there any memorable artist that you have in mind? I know it's hard to like pinpoint one
From
person
1,000
or two,
people.
Or two
I have
people.
1,000 memorable artists.
I'm talking about someone where you feel where okay, this is someone I gave a chance to showcase the talent because no one believed in this person, and who evolved into like a super duper artist right now, for example. Like, is there anyone like that?
I don't think it's a belief system. I think you recognize hard work. I think even if I look at the 1,000 artists, probably 1% of them went all in. We're talking about like 9 to 5, quit the job, go full time, focus exclusively on music, live that lifestyle, and then come out of it being still in that lifestyle. Roachkiller, a good friend of mine, is a great example. Like I think year 1, he performed at like 1 p.m. in an afternoon slot, like doing some reggae hip hop stuff, and today he's a global superstar. Yeah. Right? Like one of his songs, I think hit like 200 million views or something, right? But I can trace him back to his first big major Canadian performance was at Desi Fest. And he's come back a couple of times, and so I think it's like Jonita's another great example. Yeah. The first year she came and performed, we didn't even book her. I didn't even know about her. Somebody else brought her on stage to sing with them.
Okay.
Right? Like,
oh, wow.
She wasn't in my radar at all.
Yeah.
And then since then, blew up, and so to see that work sort of put in is really incredible. And so I think it's, for me, the belief system I have is in anybody who's taking the risk of being an artist. It's the hardest thing to do, whether you're part-time, full-time, whether you're popular, not popular. The fact that you've told yourself, I want to be an artist in any capacity, and then struggle through the stigma of that, the lifestyle of that. I know many guys that are 9 to 5, and then they go right to the studio after that and hustle and make music, even if nobody's watching and you have shitty views. And, so anybody who's in that mode, I respect and love you just because. And then there's folks that get the spark through something like a Desi Fest and go, man, I love this feeling.
Yeah.
How do I chase it more?
Yeah.
And on the flip side, there's people that have done it and go, this is not what I want. Like I imagined it.
Yeah.
Now I did it. Nah, it's okay.
It's not it.
You know, that's also
Yeah,
a great
it's there,
insight,
yeah.
right? So I think, there's so many artists, even if I talk about my own daughter, I had no idea if she's any musical interest or taste, but like, she's like, I want to dance. I'm like, you sure you want to dance on stage in front of 10,000 viewers? Like, yeah. So she found a friend, they rehearsed and they danced. And then she's like, I want to sing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sing. So then she found another friend and they sang a song from Frozen.
Okay.
Right? She was okay, borderline. But the fact that she I want to sing and found a friend and they sang together
Yeah.
for 5 minutes.
That's amazing.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to DJ. I
Yeah.
said, okay.
Yeah.
And then she did her first solo set
Yeah.
at Desi Fest last year for 15 minutes. And that I think is what unconditional belief means. I think we need people around us that unconditionally believe in my dream because I believe in it.
Yeah.
Not because you don't think it's right or wrong.
Right.
So I think the gift that we've given every artist who's gone on stage is that I believe you 100% deserve to be here.
Good.
And we're going to continue doing that. So
That was
amazing.
probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Sathish, for being here today.
my pleasure, man. Thanks for having
obviously,
me.
sharing all these memories with us. And I
It was
think,
a big roller coaster.
yeah.
We had all kind of emotion.
how did you feel like going back on memory lane?
It's good to reminisce, man. It's good to reminisce through a format like this because the opposite of fear that I talk about when you imagine is, your own sort of daydreaming about what you've done, right? And that's important because, when you're about to do something hard again, like what I'm about to do again with the team, you beat self-doubt by imagining all the things you've already done.
Yeah.
So why am I afraid this year? My wife tells me every year I complain to her for 19 years and nobody's showing up this year. Yeah, like the night before I'm DMing influencers for one more post. I'm on Twitter trying to post. I'm on Face. Like she's like, listen, chill, man. Like we're like ketchup. People know about us.
Yeah.
You don't have to. They'll show up. I'm like, I don't know. I think we could have did one more ad, or we could have boosted one more post, or I'm gonna send another e-blog. I've been like this for 19 years. And so when I think back. On these memories is important because it grounds me in positivity that we've done it enough. Don't take it for granted, but also know that some stuff will just be okay. My mom said this a long time ago. She said, nobody's taught you how to win because nobody's taught you how to win. But we kept telling you failed, that in trying to avoid failing, you figured out how to win.
Yeah.
And that's my general operating system in life. I don't want to fail so badly that I work super hard to not fail and I win. But if you ask me what's the strategy to win, I'm like, I don't know. How do I build another successful Desi Fest? I don't know. I just know what I didn't want Desi Fest to become, and I try every single year to make sure it doesn't fail. And the end result is the opposite. And that's just my DNA, and I've learned how to live with that now.
Wow.
But yeah, so I think these moments remind me of the goodness that we as a team have done, but it also encourages me as the guy leading it to continue believing in myself, because I got to reminisce on my own, sort of life a little bit today. So I appreciate that, and thank you for having me.
I mean, one more thing I wanted to add,
Ayo.
for 19 years, you've been still stressing every year. I
If you
hope
talk to
people are
my-
showing up and stuff.
If you talk to my
I
wife,
don't
Even
know,
after seeing all that crowd?
yeah, every year, and if you talk to my wife, every year I have the same conversation with her
So
like
I
2
don't
days
want to know
before.
what's going to happen on Friday then. It's
Man.
going to be like a
I have
total
no-
stress ball.
Yeah, it is, but I'll work myself
Yeah.
to make sure those people get the audience they deserve. Thankfully, also, it's FIFA weekend
Yeah.
in Toronto, so there'll be a lot of people there.
Yeah.
But again, this is, any entrepreneurship adventure I've been on, I've never failed in anything because I work so hard in not failing
Yeah.
that if it didn't work out, it's your perception. I feel like I've done everything that I think I could do, so I already won. And so that attitude coupled with this belief system that, you know, other people's opinion is yours and not mine, and my ability to manage my fear and anxiety through just doing the work has made at least me who I am. And, you know, I'm 51. I don't want to change. I'm good. But I also recognize this is my tendencies. And you know, with the right support team around me, they let me freak out. They don't try to sweeten it. They don't try to like justify it. They don't try to be like, no, everybody. They're like, you're right. Do what you want to do. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to text 5 more people to make sure they come. I feel better, you know? So.
But with FIFA around the corner as well, I think this time you will have like even a crazier crowd.
I hope so.
There will be so many different people.
Yeah, and I hope
like,
so. You know,
oh, wow,
and,
what is this festival?
Yeah,
right?
and the crowd is good, but I want the crowd that comes for our artists.
Yeah,
you
of
know?
course.
And that's important to bring that the right energy out. But like I said, last year, and you know, Tony Robbins talks about anchoring all the time. You know, if you study his work, it's like anytime something good happens, anchor it. Anytime something bad happens, don't agree with it, because what's bad? It's a perception. Something that feels bad today was in hindsight really good.
Yeah.
And 3 months from now, you're like, oh, I'm so glad that happened.
Yeah.
So you have to quickly ground and anchor things in your mind that are good. Then your body remembers the moment of feeling good.
So it's like you failing that test.
Yes.
It's
So you anchor it.
Yeah.
Right? You anchor it and you go, you know, and then anything that doesn't feel right, you don't anchor it. So, you know, I've been anchoring a lot of these kind of moments on, okay, we did this. And last year, standing on stage, looking at the crowd at 11 p.m. saying, thank you for coming out. And there's people from front all the way to the Young Street partying to an all Canadian lineup.
Yeah.
Anchor. Yeah. Good. We'll do it again.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You want to ask him something final?
What do?
Look how I shot him.
What do I ask?
What do you want?
What do you want from me?
I always do that randomly.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, thank you so much, Sathish, for sharing all this. And obviously, we know Desi Fest, 20 years of Desi Fest, it will be just amazing this year as well. And I know Friday will be super amazing also, because you are coming up with a lot of new things for that day. And people will definitely appreciate that. And I know both days will be extremely, extremely well received and will be packed.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And come for the food, come for the sponsors, come for the dance, and also just come to be part of a cultural moment. That's what I tell people. You know, when you're at Young Dundas Square or Sankofa, and it's like 8, 9 o'clock, and the billboards are up, and the sun is just coming down. You're listening to a song in a language that you understand. It's a moment of like intense pride, and it's a moment I think worth the trip.
Yeah,
of course. And one last time, I urge you guys to go check out desifest.ca if you want to become a volunteer, or if you want to be an artist performing on the stage, or you want to become a vendor. More importantly, if you want to become a sponsor.
That's the one.
Right? So go to desifest.ca or check any of their socials and contact them, and everybody can be part of it, no matter the age.
Right?
Yes, 100%.
So எல்லாரும் கண்டிப்பா அந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு போங்கோ. முழு நாளும் நடக்கும். சாட்டர்டே வந்து காலமா 11 மணில இருந்து இரவு 11 மணி நடக்கும். ஸோ யாருமே சொல்ல இல்லாத எனக்கு அந்த நாள் டைம் இல்லைன்னு யாருமே சொல்ல இல்லாது. You have a wedding in the morning, finish it, go in the afternoon. You have a party in the night, go in the morning, check it out, and then go to the party in the night. So no one can escape from this. You have either time on Friday or on Saturday, or if you're jobless, you have time on both days. And it's a free event, right?
Yeah.
And don't forget, you're not jobless, you're an entrepreneur.
Yes. அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். Yes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Gujala Irupam Chilla Kadipam, and Sathish he did share so many things, and உங்கள் எல்லாருக்குமே அப்படி நிறைய memories இருக்கும் உங்களுடைய வாழ்க்கையில. And if you guys feel like there's someone that should be here sitting with us and talk to us, please refer them to us and send them our way. We will be definitely happy to share anyone's story here, and we learn something from our guests, and I'm sure that our guests learn at least a little bit from us as well. So அப்படி சொல்லிக்கொண்டு உங்கள்கிட்ட இருந்து விடைபெற்றுக் கொள்வது உங்கள் ஸ்டீவ் கிளிஃப் and
AR.
peace out.
நன்றி. வணக்கம்.
வணக்கம்.